everyone, it's Victoria. Welcome to part 2 of our baby registry checklist review. In this video, we'll be talking about nursing and feeding. Hey! Alright everyone, so nursing and feeding is a big topic, and what I'm going to do is talk about all the items that surround nursing and feeding first, and then at the end I will talk about the bottles and the pumps because those are bigger topics and I want to make sure I spend enough time on that. Alright, let's get to it. First, we have the nursing pillows. So there were two types that we tried. The first one was the one with a buckle that wraps around you and you snap it in. At first I thought I would like that one more, and it was quite good for a newborn, but as time went on, I got more and more tired of clipping it on and off every single time. Another issue that I had with it is that it comes out on the sides a little bit, so if you ever sit in a chair with arms or a smaller seat chair, then it won't really fit. So then I actually preferred the boppy a bit later on. So that one, it's much easier to just put on yourself, or it's even more versatile where I can have the baby just lie down in the little crevice of it on the ground and he'll be nice and tucked in. Or it was really helpful when we had the baby start his tummy time. It was a good support for him. Maybe about a month or so into nursing, I actually prefer to use regular pillows stacked on top of each other. It was just more versatile. I can stack them and move them however I liked. Next, nursing stool and nursing cover. For the stool, you can really just use any small stool you have at home. It's just important when you're nursing to have good posture, and pro tip that I learned from the lactation consultant was that the stool is one of the best tools to help you get that good posture when you're feeding. As for nursing cover, I would definitely recommend to have at least 1 or 2 on your baby registry. It's just really helpful for, say, if you have guests in the home or if you're going out to nurse. Now, items for the mom: nursing bra and nipple cream. So nursing bra, when I had to go buy one, it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and so I couldn't go to any stores to try them on. So I just had to resort to buying them online, and I actually ended up getting one from Amazon. I have the link down below, and one tip for that is to make sure you look at its sizing chart. It's pretty accurate, but it might be at a size that you're not normally fitted to. So just don't be alarmed by that. Follow the chart and you should be fine. It was much more affordable than the other ones that I saw, like the brand name ones from maternity stores, but it worked out really well. So I would suggest to have a minimum of 2 so that you can swap them out. Then for nipple cream, this is another item along with your nursing bra that I would recommend to have when you go to the hospital or wherever you're giving birth. I really needed that nipple cream from day one, but thankfully the hospital had some and I forgot to bring my own. So I have this one here. It was really like a lifesaver for the first 2-3 weeks of nursing when your nipples get really cracked and sore. It's a rough time, so this helps a little bit just to soothe that soreness. Next, we're moving on to items that baby will use. First, let's talk about the passy. It's recommended to have 4 to 6. While we have 4, there are 2 that's for months 0 to 3, and then 2 that's meant for months 3 and up. So the reason for the difference is that the texture is slightly different. Now, it's recommended to not give baby the passy until feeding is well established. For Caspian though, he doesn't really take to the passy, so we kind of have 4 just lying around, but again, this is really based on the baby's preference. But 2 to 4 is a good place to start. High chair and booster seat. You might want to have both, as a booster seat will help when you're traveling and going out. What to look for when you're looking for a booster seat or a high chair is think about the space you have in your home, because a high chair could take up a lot of space. Second, some of them are able to convert into a booster seat later on so that you can use the item for longer. And lastly, look at the weight that the seat could hold up to so that you know how long this seat can be used for. Cutlery. So this refers to the set of cutlery that's baby friendly so their little hands can hold. So it would be helpful to have at least one set on your registry. But an item that you might not have thought of is a small spoon that you can use in the case where you will be feeding baby. So our baby was ready for solids before he was ready for baby-led weaning, and so, or using cutlery even. So we fed him some purees, and this little spoon is just really helpful because it could get into his tiny little mouth. Snack and formula dispenser. We have this one here from Munchkin, and it's just really helpful because you could put snacks and formula in there. These little sections can help you just portion out one serving of formula each time, so if you need to bring it out, it can be all ready for you and you won't have to worry about scooping it into your bottle. For the next couple of items, I just want to explain how we decided what and what not to put on our registry list. So first, we didn't put some of the items that we knew would be used later on. So such as like the cutlery that we talked about, or maybe like a baby food maker. So that wouldn't be needed immediately after he was born. Another thing that we considered was whether or not the item was essential. So did he need this teether for sure, or could it wait and we can decide a bit later on? So ideally we chose the items that met both those criteria, that was immediately needed and essential, so that they could be filled, and then all the other items we can just decide to buy later on. So feeder for strained foods. So this would be an item that's not immediately needed and not technically essential. So we did not put it on our registry. However, some parents say that they love this type of product. We haven't tried it yet, but when we do, we'll make sure to let you know. Baby food maker. So there are some products out there that ranges all the way up to $150. These ones help you not only just puree the food, they also help you steam it, cook it, reheat it, like an all-in-one. So it would definitely take up a bit of counter space, and we decided to not go with one of these. I just knew that when I was a baby, my mom just used those handheld blenders that you could make soup with, and that's how she made our pureed items. Now, if you are deciding to make your own food and not just buy the pouches or the canned pureed foods, then you definitely need something to make the purees. For us, we are using a magic bullet that we already have. It makes purees great. You can add a little bit of water to the food depending on what food it is, but I won't get too much into that right now. All that is to say, we did not get a baby specific food maker. We just use any conventional blender such as the magic bullet. 6 to 8 toddler cups. So again, this would be used later on in life. We put 2 toddler cups on our registry, and we have not gotten a chance to use it yet. When we do, we will let you know. Bibs. It's recommended to have 10 bibs on the list. Now it could be a little bit confusing because there are technically 2 types of bibs. One is drool bibs, which are more like cloth, and the other is the plastic type that a baby can eat with. So we definitely have about 8 to 10 drool bibs, and you go through them quite quickly because a baby soaks through them really fast. However, for the plastic type of bib, we only had 1 on the registry because we don't really see why we would need a whole bunch of them, especially since they're plastic. You can just give them a quick rinse after eating and it's good to go for the next meal. 2 to 3 teethers. We did not have any teethers on our registry. We were gifted with a couple of them, and then in the end we bought one on our own when baby seemed to need it. We tried the ring type, and at first we didn't really like it because it didn't fit the baby's mouth. The spheres were actually too large. The one that was successful with us was this blue one where there's little parts that can go into his mouth really easily, and even from a young age he was able to grasp it quite well, and it can be frozen, so it could help relieve some of the pain. Lastly, disposable placemats. So we tried as much as possible to limit our disposable items. So I don't really think we need a disposable placemat. We just use the tray that's given with the booster seat or the high chair, and we'd have a silicone little plate for when he can eat with his little hands. Now we have pumps. Huge topic. There are mainly 3 types, so the electric type, manual, and silicone. First, let's get into the electric. Originally, I did not plan to buy a pump. We were planning to breastfeed mainly exclusively as much as possible, but 3 weeks into my breastfeeding journey, I got mastitis. Now, I'll probably have a whole other video about mastitis or my experience of it because I had kind of non-textbook symptoms. I went to a lactation consultant already and everything seemed fine. Anyway, all that is to say, after I got mastitis, I went almost to pumping 85% of the time. And thankfully, even before I got mastitis, a friend lent us their pump, and I wasn't even planning on using it. But after that experience, I heavily relied upon it. I know a lot of people have questions about other types of electric pumps, some of them being very expensive, around $500, $600, the ones that you can walk around with. I can't get into that video here because I'm just explaining the experience we've had with our pump. So because we have an electric pump, we did not have a manual pump. However, we had a silicone pump as well. And this will attach onto your other side and catch the letdown. The last huge topic is bottles. Now, I know some parents trial many brands of bottles before settling onto one that their baby really takes after. Thankfully, for our baby, he really took onto anything that gave him food. First, we tried the Nano Baby bottle, and then we also had a Munchkin latch bottle. And lastly, we had the Spectra bottle from the kit. We will go into a much more in-depth product review with these bottles. We had a whole set of these gifted to us as a starter kit. So really quick, because we will talk more about it in the review, this is a really pretty set. However, there are a couple, again, design flaws which would make me say I wouldn't really recommend this bottle. We also tried the latch bottle, which I felt like worked really well. This bulbous area helped the baby create a very nice seal, and that helped with a very easy no leak type of feeding. And then lastly, the Spectra bottle. We didn't really use this nipple that much at all. See, compared to the latch bottle, it was a lot less bulbous. And even though our baby took to it, we just preferred these other ones that we have. Our Nano Baby set came with other things. One of them being the drying rack, and also a sanitizer, and the bottle warmer, and freezer milk bags. So first, I would say for the drying rack, it's not completely necessary to have one. You could really just dry your bottles anywhere else, but it is nice to have a dedicated area for your bottles if your space allows for that. Second, a sanitizer. So this one we have here is the type where we put in the microwave. We fill up a bit of water, put the bottles on top, and put in the microwave for 4 minutes to steam. There are other types where it's more all-in-one, where it is, you don't put it into the microwave. Obviously, those ones would be more expensive because it's powered by itself. We found this to be very helpful and inexpensive, much easier than boiling your bottles, and it could even act as a drying rack. Next, we have the bottle warmer. So obviously with our Nano Baby bottles, it came with its own warmer because of its unique shape. But if you have one of these more traditional bottles, you really could warm them in any cylinder container, which we do have already from a hand blender set. So that was a relatively easy fix, and you might not need to buy a specific bottle warmer. And then lastly, bottle tote and bottle brushes. Those are more like accessory items. Obviously the brush will help you clean your bottles, but if you already have a brush that works, that is totally applicable as well. And then lastly, the bottle tote. So it will be helpful when you bring the bottle out to help keep it in its relative temperature. So it's kind of like a insulated lunch bag just for the bottles. Freezer milk bags. It would be really helpful if you have extra milk being produced, and then you can put that extra milk into those freezer bags and then collect many of them, and so that over time later you can use that milk again. However, it's not always likely that you will have a lot of milk being produced. So for myself, I really just used that milk bag once. My baby really ate up all the milk that I had. A reason why people would like freezer milk bags is because it can save space in the freezer. Instead of freezing bottles and bottles, you'll be freezing bags, which of course just forms to the size of the bag, which can be stacked or like put into different crevices, and that's why freezer milk bags are more useful than bottles when freezing. So that's it for our part 2 of our baby registry checklist review. Stay tuned for part 3 as we'll get into gear, travel, bathing, and potty. If you'd like to review our part 1, click here